Iditarod, the last great race. A race like no other. A trek that spans more than 1,000 miles of Alaska's most rugged terrain. Mushers and their dogs teaming together against climate and condition. Strength, strategy, and stamina determine who will succeed. Welcome to this special HD coverage of the ceremonial start from downtown Anchorage on KTVA CBS 11, the official station of Iditarod 42.
And welcome to 4th Avenue on an absolutely gorgeous morning in downtown Anchorage, Alaska. It is the ceremonial start of the 42nd running of the Iditarod sled dog race. And we are certainly glad you're here, and it's great to see everyone again. Greg Heister, Dave Goldman from KTVA, and our Iditarod insider analyst. One of them, Bruce Lee, will be joined by Joe Runyon a little bit later. Some quick thoughts, guys, as we take a look at the Iditarod snapshot now at the numbers and how these mushers break down. 69 teams in this race, 13 international, 16 rookies, 49 from Alaska. And Bruce, a quick thought, we have 5 Norwegians in this field, and they're interesting, aren't they?
Yeah, we have Robert Sorley returning, who's won the race twice. Other well-known Norwegian mushers that the Alaskan mushers respect, and everybody's talking about what will they bring to this race strategy-wise, because they are serious competitors. And
the energy is starting to build now as we hear the announcer in the background. Teams starting to encroach now on the start line. These are the top 10 finishers in the field, and everyone here a champion other than Didi Johnroe, but Boozer, King, Baker, Seavey, and Didi will be in the mix when we talk about possible champions. And now remember, this is an event where many of the great mushers aren't much bigger than a jockey in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, 130, 140, 150 pounds, you get above that, you're kind of a large musher around here. So the fact that John at 245 pounds owns that speed record is still very interesting. As we take a look now at what the mushers are going to encounter as they work across the state of Alaska. Of course, the ceremonial start is in Anchorage. They'll run 13 miles. Tomorrow is the official start out of Willow, and they'll go over the Alaska Range through the interior, and then they hit the Bering Sea coast there at Unalakleet before finishing at Nome. And Bruce, you see a lot of green on this map. They're going to see a lot of green and brown out there, aren't they?
They are, and this is going to be, this first couple days, though normally it's a settle-in period, is really going to determine a lot of the outcome of this race, because mushers are going to get dinged up because of the icy trail conditions. Gear's going to get broke, which needs to be fixed. They're going to go up to Finger Lake, which, there's talk of moving the race to Fairbanks, but they've got the trail in, and the mushers, or the teams, have worked on it hard. And as they go up to Rainy Pass and drop in the Dalzell Gorge over to Roan, that's going to be a real shakeout period. Who gets through this section of trails that we're seeing clips of right now is going to determine who has the biggest number of dogs left, the gear that isn't busted up, and the mushers aren't busted up.
And there's the Dalzell Gorge, the famous gorge right before Roan. And it's going to be a lot different in there this year, too, as we take a look at Roan. Remember what Martin Boozer did there a year ago when he went all the way to Roan before he stopped to take his 24-hour rest. And as a media guy, we love shakeups like that because it just gives us so much to talk about that's different.
Is the weather and the effect on the ice and how thick that ice may be. With more on that, Heather Hinsey.
Cruise Construction offered to help groom the trails with its heavy equipment. Crews had to first make sure the ice was at least 18 inches thick, so it was strong enough to hold up that grooming equipment. And after the ice was decided that it was held up, they also did some aerial scouting, decided it would take a lot of work, but they were going to keep the restart in Willow. Before dog teams can hit the trail to Nome, Cruise Construction crews have to get to it first.
Just not having such a killer snow year, equipment allows us to keep the trail in runnable, safe condition.
The snowcat pulls a Mogul Master behind it. It's designed to grind up the hard, compact snow to make the trails more tolerable.
It looks to be about maybe 4 inches of hard packed snow on the lake, but once you get out on the trail, it pretty well been beat to death. It takes quite a bit of work to get it back up.
The groomer doesn't have to go at it alone.
Well, we're basically taking and doing the finish groom
after the snowcat is run through and left rough areas, we can clean up anything that he leaves.
Snow machines with mini mogul masters pitch in too. Trail boss Bill Luth enjoys getting everything ready for the race.
My biggest kick is now with these new 4-stroke snowmobiles that they're quiet enough and stuff, is I'll be out on the trails grooming, and I'll come up on dog mushers. And you get to talk to them while you're grooming trail now.
The groomers are a game changer. One option was to move the trails through the woods if the snow was too hard. With Cruise Construction's help, the route will stay on its regular course.
They want to keep it on the lakes for the spectators, which is really important. So we did get 3 inches of snow this week, which did make a big difference on how much we've got right there. Because right there, you could have ice skated just a week ago.
Welcome back to 4th Avenue in downtown Anchorage. We're moments away now from the start of the 42nd Iditarod. It is the ceremonial start. You know, this event started back in 1973, but the dream began over 20 years prior to that. A guy named Joe Reddington Sr., the father of the Iditarod, kind of blossomed that dream and got it going in 1973. Time now to take a little look back at it.
Alaska, where dreams blow in like a storm and linger like a long Arctic winter. It's a place that provides a perfect canvas for creative, life-altering pursuits. It's a place of rich history and humor that collides with the adventurous and audacious.
I looked at the race through the eyes of P.T. Barnum. He would have loved it. It's a circus. It's a big circus. It's a circus that has all the elements. It has animals, all kinds of animals. Remember, we had moose on the trail. We've had polar bears on the trail. We've had everything, every animal out there. And also we've got characters, great characters. If you're not a character when you run the race, you'll be a character after you do run it.
It was the perfect place for Joe Reddington Sr.
Old man Reddington had a dream. It had been done with dogs back in the early 1900s out of Nome, where they ran 300-400 miles, and he wanted to kind of keep that tradition going. And I don't know if it was individually important or just one man's dream, and people wanted to see it happen, you know.
Reddington was a dreamer with a purpose. He championed the plight of the disappearing sled dog and would take the unreachable and create a world stage for a little-known sport. He would be the ringleader. He teamed up man and dog, pitting them against Mother Nature over thousands of miles and well over 4 decades. He would battle a war waged by animal rights groups. Funny, considering the race was started to save the dogs themselves, and would eventually do just that. He created a love and a life for sled dogs that reaches far beyond Alaska's borders today. He provided the platform where men tested their muster.
Okay, Eskimos coming in off of the sea ice, hunting the open leads for seals. Athapaskans from north of the Arctic Circle coming down out of the foothills of the Brooks Range and the tributaries along the Yukon, the Kobuk, off their marten trap lines, and remote homesteaders, white adventurers. I mean, these guys were tough to kill, and a lucky thing.
And while men proved mentally and physically unbreakable, it became a chance for women to show the world who was tough as well. Women would one day rule this race.
It was survival, total survival mode, you know, and it was real interesting, you know, to see what happens with your head, you know, and how you deal with it.
And Reddington helped create a sport with great rivalries that started decades ago, but still drive the race forward.
One separation, the 5th championship, you know.
The Iditarod is the legacy of one man, but continues to be a dream for so many others.
Joe Reddington was not a big man, and he was very soft-spoken. He was as tough as whalebone.
I never seen anybody love dogs like my dad.
It's the intrigue of the whole lifestyle, but it takes your entire life. I mean, you give up other careers, you give up where you live, but I say give up. In reality, what you're gaining is worth way more than that. Setting out on the Yukon River, eating salmon strips, and 16 dogs in front of you is a pretty nice life. So,
2, 1, go! Nothing better.
First team out.